Officer Andrew Love complained. In this statement I reference the police policies and procedures of the South Zanesville Police Department, and for the reasons given I believe Officer Sargent Andrew Love is unfit to be an officer. Canon of Ethics. Page 9a. Fundamental duty towards the weak against oppression. Officer Love did not respect the constitutional rights of all men to liberty, equality and justice. Failed to self-restraint and be mindful of others. Officer Love acted officiously, aggressively, unwanted services and or help and or advice. Officer Love allowed his personal feelings affect his performance while on duty by name-calling, bullying, immature behavior, arguing, degrading one's lifestyle. Page 9b Article 1. Primary responsibility of job. Officer Love downgraded Herbert Newton, in regards to Herb's disability and or lifestyle. Article 2. Officer Love hurt the character of the South Zanesville Police Department when Officer Love stated aggressively that Officer Love was the government. I quote, "I am the government to the power of as opposed to part of the government." Article 4. Officer Love disregarded public safety and public trust by engaging in immature, irresponsible and name-calling conduct while on duty. Page 9 see Article 7. Officer Love did not deal with the public in a manner that was calculated to instill respect, confidence and or trust. Officer Love was overbearing and seemed to scare the public, including Herbert Newton. Page 9d Article 11. Officer Love has shown little to no regard as a law enforcement officer in his discharge of his duties with regards to public trust. Officer Love hasn't done well in human relationships and or leadership. Page 13b Article 3. Officer Love's actions was not favorable while on patrol duty. Officer Love was interacting with the public and he was aggressive, bullying and abusive in his verbal communications. Officer Love brings the South Zanesville Police Department in disrepute and has discredited the entire department with his communications and his actions. Article 4. Bullying behavior towards the public or otherwise is immoral and should not be done by any officer on duty or otherwise. Page 13 see Article 7. Officer Love was engaging in entertaining behavior for himself and the cost of a disabled citizen while on duty in South Zanesville. Officer Love was engaging in discourteous treatment of the public and failed to behave reasonably or responsibly. Page 13d Article 12. Employees shall perform their duties in a manner which will maintain the highest standards of efficiency in carrying out the functions and objectives of the department. Officer Love failed to do this. Page 13h Article 22. Abuse of position. Section Subsection 1 for personal or financial gain. Officer Love done what he did for personal and or social gain. Subsection 2 for obtaining privileges not otherwise available to him except in the performance of duty. Subsection 3 for avoiding consequences of illegal acts. In regard to Article 22, Sargent Andrew Love used his position as an officer to bully and harass a member of the public and use his position for privileges not otherwise available to him, and finally was able to use his position to avoid consequences of his illegal harassment and bullying behavior. Page 13 Jules Article 26. Courtesy. In this article it is difficult to see how Andrew Love was trying to be courteous. Officer Love not only was he not courteous, but Officer Love did not control his temper and exercise the utmost patience and or discretion and or respect. Officer Love was engaging in argumentative discussion, bullying behavior and disrespect and disregard to the public. Officer Love in the course of his duties used violent, profane, insolent language and gestures towards the public and handicap. Officer Love expressed prejudice against the lifestyle and similar personal characteristics of Herbert Newton in public. Page 13t Article 57. Conduct on duty. Officer Love did not maintain professionalism in his duties during this time interacting with Herbert and or the public. Page 13u Article 63. Public discussion. During Officer Love and in communication with the public, Officer Love engaged in political discussion in a public place. This is against policy. Officer Love spoke critically and derogatorily to and about Herbert Newton and the public. Page 13y Article 76. Insignia. Officer was wearing emblems on his uniform. This is against policy. Page 13z Article 81. Horseplay. Officer Love if was not bullying and being serious, then he qualifies for Article 81 under horseplay, practical jokes etc. While on duty in a public place with the public his conduct is forbidden while on duty. Page 13e Article 93. Here in the policy it states that all employees has received a copy of the rules and regulations, policies and procedures by the South Zanesville Police Department. And in this section it must be verified and signed that all employees have received and are informed themselves of these policies and procedures. Any questions you must ask the chief for clarification. Page 16a. Community relations. Individual dignity. This section is talking about giving everybody dignity. Officer Love did not give any dignity in communications with Herbert Newton and the public. Officer Love did not treat the public and or Herbert Newton with respect. Officer Love was not mindful of his actions and behaviors. Page 16b. Role of the individual officer. Officer Love neglected to show respect and concern for the public, including but not limited to the police department that he is employed with. Officer Love while not only neglected and giving disrespect but did not inspire respect from the public. In the video in question with Officer Love he did not show cooperation and or approval of the public and his behavior was under par. Officer Love allowed his personal beliefs overcome his professionalism, and he set aside his official position to negatively interact with the public. Officer Love did not prevent himself to be impaired by his personal beliefs and attitudes towards the public, and Love lost the effectiveness one should strive for. Equality of enforcement. Officer Love was not fair and impartial during his communications and interactions with Herb and the public. Officer Love did not even enforce law or policy, only his personal agenda against in the public. This reduced the public's respect for the law and the resistance to its enforcement. No circumstances called for Officer Andrew Love's attention or his behavior and his communication with the public and or Herbert Newton. Officer Love, while seemed to be alert but overly aggressive and unprofessional, circumstances that led him to act the way he acted was unprofessional, and not mind his behavior was against the police policies and procedures of South Zanesville, Ohio. Page 16c. Training in Human and Community Relations. The design for the police selection process has allowed Officer Andrew Love to not only become an officer but to be an abusive and disrespectful officer as well. It seems Officer Love is emotionally, mentally and or unfit to hold his current position as officer of South Zanesville Police Department. Officer Andrew Love exhibits signs that may require continued training or relief from his position. Page 39a. Police offenses, disciplinary. In this section will be a list of behaviors that Officer Love exhibits, especially during the video in question between Officer Love and Herbert Newton. Section D. Immoral conduct. Section E. Neglect of duty. Section H. Inattention to duty. Section J. Using threatening and or profane language toward a supervisor or other employee of this department. This should include a member of the public. Section M. The mistreatment of any person in the performance of duty, in person or on the phone. Section V. Failure to report any employee of the department suspected or knowingly have violated any rules, regulations, policy or procedure of the department. For these reasons I believe Officer Sargent Andrew Love is unfit to be an officer of the South Zanesville Police Department.